Seeing Taylor, who could only desperately walk out of the arena, Ed thought this would be a big problem. He couldn't let Taylor be in that state just like that. Protection of the wind. This is a continuous magic obtained through a contract with the high-rank wind spirit Marilda. As Ed ran past Lucy, she asked could he give her the jerky now, but Ed just ignored that, according to the scenario. Originally Marilda and Lucy were two separate existences. Because Lucy came to him, he ended up making a contract with Marilda and got stronger because of that. The host then announced the next duel, which was between Ed Roth Taylor and Princess Phinia Elias Kloll. Phinia was also preparing to face him, but Ed ignored all that and continued to run after Taylor. He thought Taylor should win, raise the sword, and gain courage. However, in the end he lost because of him, because of his existence in Sylvania. When he had seen Taylor's figure from behind, Ed then loudly called him. He didn't know if this had any meaning, but he felt it was better than silence. Taylor was silent in confusion. Hearing his call, Ed then told him that his efforts would definitely succeed, and asked him not to feel sad. No one should make him feel ashamed. Ed thought, if Taylor's heart was really broken, the chances were high that in the end he would have to work hard, so he tried to encourage Taylor. Ed then told Taylor to walk bravely, because he had done his best. It was just that his opponent was not the right person for him. Don't let things like this get him down. There will be more trials happening at the academy. Taylor is the one who has to be the one who faces it, not him. Then a little flashback of Phinia's story is shown. She has been praised by Emperor Kloll since childhood as a person born with divine blessings. Emperor Kloll was the first to realize her innate insight. Her ability was not something given by an ordinary god. The life of a royal family was filled with endless deceit and conspiracy. From within that dark abyss, Phinia developed this talent herself as a way to protect herself. That's why Princess Phinia could be confident in her ability. There was a disgusting abyss inside the eyes of the royal family that upheld Phinia. Even when she looked through them, she lived as if she didn't know. At the moment when the duel between Ed and Phinia was about to begin, Ed said humbly not to attack him too strongly. Ed had no choice but to stare right at this person. Phinia then replied with the same words as Ed. Seeing Ed in the arena, the students then whispered because of Ed's actions that shouted at Taylor earlier. They just felt that Ed just wanted to mock Taylor, and maybe just wanted to look like a good person by supporting the person he bullied. All the students still looked at him negatively. Phinia, who heard the comments, also thought they were right. Ed used to use his position to humiliate his juniors, and when it didn't go his way, he was caught changing the test results. Really a shameless person, but that was him in the past. Phinia then recalled Ed's behavior, which had changed drastically lately. She wondered if maybe Ed's actions were real, until finally the duel between the two of them began. Phinia then suddenly said that he had confused her. Ed was then confused by her words. While preparing her attack, Phinia said that she wanted to prove her guess from this duel. She then started her attack. She attacked Ed using water magic. Because the magic that Ed could use was wind and fire, she wondered how Ed would respond to this, throwing everything away while exchanging moves. A dramatic battle as the finale, removing the mysterious person from her heart. But of all her guesses, the thing Phinia didn't expect was, Ed didn't dodge her attack at all. He didn't even defend. That certainly made her shocked and confused. Phinia's attack succeeded in making Ed fall. Ed then immediately admitted defeat. Phinia couldn't believe it seeing that. Because Ed didn't even parry after seeing the trajectory of the water ball, the students immediately laughed at Ed. They thought Ed's actions were even worse than Taylor's. They mocked him for being cool but being defeated in one attack. They also praised Phinia for her action. Ed then got up and said that this was a good fight. He had learned a lot. Phinia was speechless hearing that, now that she thought about it. After Ed went up to the arena, he never once made eye contact with her. Phinia wondered if Ed was not interested in duels from the beginning. Shortly after the host announced Phinia's victory, Ed knew now was not the time to playing duel. When dealing with Princess Phinia, it was best to be careful, and not let her influence the scenario, because Phinia was an important person in this scenario, but the person more important than Princess Phinia was the protagonist of this world, Taylor. Therefore, Ed was currently looking for Taylor's whereabouts. But he was confused about where Taylor was, but he was then called by someone from behind him. That person was Phinia. Ed then asked her what she was doing here without a single bodyguard escorting her. Phinia immediately became angry at Ed's actions earlier during the duel. Ed then told her to calm down and only said if she was talking about the duel. He really has learned a lot of things. Phinia certainly didn't believe in that excuse, because she knew Ed didn't even intend to win at all. He was only thinking about the fastest way to get off the stage. She was very annoyed by that. Plus she was already struggling with classes, but the fox-like merchant was only thinking about ways to control the academy. Professor Glass's annoyance did not diminish at all. Plus, the servants were always babbling about the ways of a royal family. Phinia seemed to be venting all the frustration she had been harboring. Ed could only silently listen. She was already dizzy from everything. But Ed was making her even dizzier. Ed was quite surprised by that, and the fact that Phinia had harbored all these frustrations. Ed then grasped both of Phinia's shoulders while calling out to her. He then told her to breathe slowly and please calm down. There was no point in her panicking like this. Ed then tried to guide her to calm down by breathing in and out. Phinia then suddenly fell silent while covering her face using both hands, and asked what happened just now. While holding back feelings of shame, Phinia then told Ed to forget what happened just now. Ed could only agree to that. Ed asked if he could go now. Phinia then said that she had a bad habit. She could ask directly, but she felt like she had to keep guessing and guessing what was on their minds. This was probably because she had stayed in the palace for too long. Ed didn't seem to be able to leave now because he had to listen to Phinia's babbling. He was also sad because of that, because he also had to find Taylor. With a serious look, Phinia then said that she would ask him frankly if he was trying to break ties with his family, because he knew their dark side. While pointing a finger at him, Phinia continued. The reason why he bullied Taylor was because he needed a reason to be expelled from his family. Ed thought that was a pretty accurate assessment, although there were many mistakes. The thought that the Roth-Taylor family had a dark side was true, however, that was something he would investigate later in the distant future. Ed then pretended to be confused and said that he didn't know what she was talking about. Phinia certainly didn't believe that. She didn't want to admit that she was wrong. She then asked what exactly was the meaning of the words he shouted at Taylor. Why did he encourage and support the person he wanted to expel? Did he never dislike Taylor in the first place? Ed thought that this was a fitting question. He then answered that it was because he just wanted to mock him. He only said it because everyone hated him. If he encouraged Taylor, maybe people's views would change. But Phinia could clearly see that Ed was lying. She then told him to look her in the eye and tell her the truth. Phinia then activated her insight. Ed then replied that he was telling the truth. The insight then stated that Ed was lying. Phinia was very upset with Ed's attitude. Ed suspected that Phinia might not have proof. The most important thing, following the initial scenario, was his only hope. Phinia then looked resigned because she also couldn't say anything because there was no evidence. She then allowed Ed to leave, because she knew Ed who had wanted to leave. Maybe there were important things he had to take care of, because from the beginning he kept staring at the door. Ed was grateful for that. Ed thought this was the first time Phinia showed this side of her, as someone who would affect the initial scenario. She was already involved with many people and events that could give her a headache. This might be his fault for being a new addition to the scenario. Before leaving, Ed then said to her, how could his burden be compared to the burden that the princess was carrying? This might be a little out of line, but she really looked tired, although it was important to pay attention to complicated politics. But she also needed to rest a little. This place was not a palace where she had to worry about every little thing. This was Sylvania Academy. Phinia had lived her life trying to see through someone's lies. But this was the first time someone had really seen through her. Phinia felt touched by the attention from Ed. After successfully leaving Phinia, Ed then continued to search for Taylor's whereabouts. He regretted that he had wasted too much time. If Taylor gave up, then her comfortable life, no, even this world might end, until finally Ed managed to find Taylor. He then immediately called him. But he was then confused about what he should say. A girl suddenly blocked Ed's path and told him not to come closer, with tears in her eyes. The girl then told Ed not to bother Taylor anymore. The girl is the main heroine in this story, Isla. Isla said, Taylor was already struggling even without her.
So, friends, this chapter comes to an end. What will happen next? We'll uncover it in the next chapter. Don't forget to rate this chapter out of 10 in the comments. We'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care and goodbye. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.